I'm going through it. Okay, so I'm recording. Let's see. Okay, so what I want to talk about, I'm just going to minimize this for now. What I want to talk about is doing a research assignment. Um, so in the skill tree, there's a tier section down here called research. And there's a bunch of different links here. I may add a couple more later in the semester. But the Crawford chapter 1 and the Understanding Comics chapter 2, both of those are options for you guys to do because we've done both of these lectures that they're related to. So for a research post, what I want you to do is there's a link here under source link. This will take you to, you can see the Crawford reading here. This is for chapter 1, what is a game? And then the second one is for Understanding Comics. And this PDF is actually the first 4 chapters, but what I want you to focus it on is chapter 2. So if you want to read the other chapters, obviously I highly encourage that. But for the assignment, I want you to focus on chapter 2. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit to find chapter 2. There it is. And okay, so I'm going to kind of do both at the same time because they're different. One is text and one is more image based. So I want you to document 3 different ideas or concepts or images that you find inspiring, and then just explain, a little bit about what you liked about it, and then make an open lab post. So I'll do an example. I'll just do one example from each. So I'll start with the art of computer game design. So, if you're reading through here and you find a quote that's really interesting, I'm not going to really do this. I'm just going to kind of choose a random quote. So let's go down to computer games and let's see. What are the fundamental elements of these games? I perceive 4 common factors, blah, 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 blah. So let's say you find this quote is really, really interesting. You want to talk about that. So I'm just going to copy this. Okay, and then I'm going to go over to the Open Lab. I'm going to make a new post. And I'm going to go to the categories and choose research. Wait, that's not research here. And I'm just going to, call this is the art of computer game design plus understanding comics. So I'm doing this together, but you would do these separately, just as an example. And so I've got this quote from the art of computer game design. So I'm going to add a block and I'm going to search for quote and I'm going to paste it in there. And I think there's like since it's a PDF, I think there's some like weird line breaks. So I think that's why that was weird, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be formatted perfectly. So I'm going to put this quote in here. It doesn't really look different, but I think it'll look different when I preview it. And so then talk about why you find this quote interesting. So I'm just going to say, find this quote inspiring because I'm interested in the factors of game design. So obviously this is, I'm just repeating the thing, but talk a little bit about like what you found exciting about the quote. So then for the next one, some of the research are like videos or actual games. This one is a game that you can play. So you might want to put visuals in there too. So I'm just going to show this with Understanding Comics. So let's say you find like this panel, really fascinating on this first page. So I want to take a little image of this. So what I can do on Windows, I think I can use the snip tool to do this. On Mac, you can do Command-Shift-4 and draw a little square around it. But I'm going to go to the snip tool, go to rectangle mode, and it says press Windows Shift S to start a snip. Okay, so then I'm going to snip the part that I want. Right? And then where does that go? I have to like paste that somewhere, right? Does anybody remember? If I go to Paint, and then File, Paste. Oh, clipboard. There we go. Okay. So you have to paste it somewhere. There might be another way to do that too. Let's see. If I click plus, I already did that part. Okay, what if I click plus and grab this? Is it going to bring up? There we go. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. Okay. So I've got the part that I wanted to snip. I'm going to save it. So I'm just going to click on this save. And I'll go to desktop, go to MMP 270. Let's make a new folder for research. And open this up. And then I'll just call this McLeod. Cloud 1. Okay, so now I've got my image right there. So then I'll go back to my post and I'm just going to drag this on here. Need to get that blue line. Okay, and then I'm going to say, this image from Understanding Comics shows the relationship between image and symbol, or let's say concept. Okay, so again, I didn't really spend a lot of time thinking about that, but I just want to give some, summary of what I found in the research. So let's preview this real quick. Okay, so that looks pretty good, but my quote doesn't really look different. I guess that doesn't really matter that much. Let's see if there's a different block. Pull quote, that's what I want to use. Okay, preview that again. Okay, that looks better. It doesn't really matter as long as we know which part is the quote and which part is your description. And so let's publish that. And so that's really all you have to do for a research post. It's pretty straightforward. Once you publish it, I'll get a notification and I'll take a look. And so the only difference here is you're not going to do 2 different readings. You're just going to do one of the readings, and you have to do 3 examples. So I only did 2. You have to do 3, and obviously write a little bit more about the different parts so that, it's clear what you thought was interesting about it. So that's pretty straightforward. Again, these aren't required assignments, but if you do these assignments, you'll get a point, and I'll also show them in class so we can kind of share different research that people are doing with the rest of the class, so we can all share that knowledge. And I'll add a couple more of those, I think, later in the semester. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording this.